Whenever you have a returning player hitting a serve that's down the tee to usually a right-hander's backhand, there's a few things, a few secrets here that help ensure the quality of the return to help prevent the net man from poaching and being aggressive at the net. The first thing that Jason's going to have to be aware of is, in order for me to hit a solid backhand, I don't care whether you're one or two hands or whether you hit a slice or a flatter stroke. The idea here is that if that ball comes down the tee to my backhand, if I turn and open up too soon, my body's going to naturally bring that ball more towards the middle of the court, if not down the line. The net man, a good net man, usually can recognize this and moves accordingly. However, if Jason turns a lot, he can now really drive through the backhand, either with topspin or with slice, but because the integrity of the shoulder plane, especially on the backhand side, will allow me to direct the ball without pushing it, without laying the racket back and pushing away from my body, which is a weak shot, hard to control, usually makes them be a lot more aggressive. So watch on Jason's return how he turns sideways to hit either a topspin or a slice. We'll actually have him hit both shots. So we're going to have him hit a topspin backhand to demonstrate how the body stays sideways, as well as how this applies to the slice backhand as well. Topspin first. You'll notice that in order to keep that ball away from the net man, Jason had to turn extra turn in his stance and not open up the body too early. Now that applies to the slice backhand as well. So in this case, he's going to come in and hit the slice backhand off the return. Watch how the shoulders stay very turned and very sideways through the stroke. Okay, Kyle, same serve. Good. On the return, on the ad court, if a ball is hit down the tee, again, one of the advantages of serving down the tee is moving the ball toward the middle of the court. But the difference is a right-handed returner on a forehand, because the shoulder is back on the forehand, we don't have the prerequisite of turning as sideways through the shot as we do the backhand inside out. The forehand inside out is a much more natural stroke because the shoulder tends to be more back. So the racket tends to be more back, and naturally tends to go more cross court. So when a player does serve down the tee, a player does not need to be as critically turned, although it can help by the upper body getting turned more. I can be a little bit more aggressive with a forehand than if I were to be a little bit more open stance and if I catch the ball a little early. So we're going to have Jason hit a couple forehands cross court on a serve down the tee. And here we have a great return, setting up my opportunity to come across and try to poach by him keeping away from the net man. Likewise, he can take this ball inside in and keep the net man honest. So he can take the same stroke, hit the ball a little bit earlier, and take the ball down the line. Good shot. And so there again, he had the opportunity to hit one of his best shots, a forehand, down the line, getting a ball that's a low percentage shot, but it keeps the net man honest, for one thing. It also, if it is his strength, as it was right there, he's able to take a serve down the tee and complement the cross court with a good down the line. When faced with a server that likes to take that ball wide, you have several options available, certainly that can increase your opportunity to exploit certain weaknesses or positions that the other team is not doing. In this situation, the net man doesn't slide over with the serve. This is a common, we sometimes see players not moving with the serve. So Jason now, if he comes out wide with a wide serve, he has not only the whole alley, but everything behind the net man to hit the winner on. It's an outright winner. So we're going to see this sequence in action. And here we have an easy winner, relatively speaking. Granted, he still has to go over the higher part of the court, but there's no way the server can run that ball down, and the net man is so far over. Now the other option here is to take that same wide serve, because an angle begets an angle. In this case, if he is served wide, Jason can also take that ball on a wide angle as well. Net man is very difficult to get this ball because the ball is moving away from him, and the more severity of the angle, whether he hits a drop angle, topspin, a drive, whatever the case may be, it's a very offensive shot, or certainly a shot that gets him back into the point, giving his net man a chance to move at the net. Good, excellent. Now when you see this, a couple things happen. I become the net player who better cover my alley. So a good cross-court angle, while it takes the net man more out of the equation, it also sets up the opponent to be able to go down my line if I don't cover that alley, but it forces him to, if I do cover my alley, it forces him to have to hit the ball cross-court. It's all a matter of trying to position yourself to get the upper hand. In this case, a good cross-court angle puts the pressure on the server to come back with either a good cross-court or a lower percentage down the line shot. When returning on the ad court, there are a number of sequences here that are a little bit different than the deuce court. A good ad court player has got to be able to take a serve, a kick serve or a wide serve to the backhand and do something with it. Because typically in most recreational club players, the backhand is the weaker side of the court. So a good serve out wide in this case is going to allow the net man to be in an offensive position if I, the returner in this case, do not do something more specifically with the ball. In this case, we want to make sure we freeze the net man by hitting a solid cross-court return. The return can be a chip, can be a topspin, it can be a drive, but we have to focus on getting the racket ahead of our body so we can keep the ball cross-court. If we let the ball play us and it gets behind us, we're going to hit the ball down the line even though we're trying to go cross-court. So we're going to have Jason work on hitting a cross-court slice backhand to start, because that's a very conservative shot, a shot we see a lot of club players have, and even the pros come in and chip that backhand oftentimes to keep the ball cross-court. Perfect. That's it. Beautiful. You can see there where the backhand slice forced him to have to hit up. Now, a good player like Kyle on the other side can still come in with a good cross-court forehand, as he should and did do. The idea here is, though, we want to put the pressure on our opponent. A slice backhand will do just that, because the ball stays a little bit lower, and depending on the quality of the individual on that side, may or may not be able to handle a slice return. We've talked about the return on the deuce side, on what a valuable secret it is to be able to lob the net man on the deuce side, because it goes over the backhand side of the court, of the player's side, as well as bouncing high to the backhand of a right-handed server. On the ad court, lobbing is not quite as effective, because you're lobbing over the forehand side of the net man, which means overhead if he gets it. Also, you're lobbing to the forehand of the server. It's still a good shot, but it can be a very questionable shot. One of the things to help prevent it from being an outright winner is what the net man does. If I'm the net man, I've got to be in a position as soon as that lob goes up to assume one thing, that the net man is going to hit an overhead. I don't want to sit there and be surprised by that. I need to be aware that he may hit the overhead. If it's a great lob, I've got plenty of time to move in. Looks like this. Good. As you can see, that the overhead in this case is going to be a hit of the winner. If the lob is a little short, and a good net player is going to put that away. Me, on the other hand, I've got to at least try to take away as much of that court. And this is one of the secrets that we've talked about positioning. While you may not get the overhead back, you want to diminish the size of the court that he has to hit the overhead in. So even though Jason may have hit a shorter lob, I still want to put as much emphasis on the opposing player to have to hit a better shot than he would normally do. If I was close to the net, he could hit that same overhead he could frame it every time and still hit it as a winner. If I back up and show him I've taken away some of that middle part of the court, I can react to it better. He may try to hit it outside of my reach and hit it wide, or he might hit it more down the line where my back person who just lobbed the ball might be able to run that down as well. Another secret of doubles play on the return side is how you can take time away from your opponent. A lot of times we'll hit a short ball or we'll have a shot where the opposing team has to run to get to the ball. Well, if my partner stays back, we give them a whole court to hit the ball and get back in position. However, if we move and follow a drop shot or a short ball in or a ball that they're in trouble on, we now diminish the size of the court they can hit the ball into, as well as diminish the amount of time, because now his partner is going to have to react to a faster ball because we're both at the net. Looks like this. Okay, let's try it again. It's the right idea. Okay. It's a hard shot under pressure. Hang on. Okay. Understanding how the return game can be adjusted to meet the need and the situation at hand. A lot of times on a second serve, we get a weaker second serve. We want to create an opportunity to give our opponents less time to react to the ball, also on the response to the return itself. So in this situation, we want to take the ball that's served down the tee and give our netman less time to attack and force our opposing server to come in and hit a weak shot. In this case, a short ball hit by Jason by coming in, catching the ball earlier, giving them less time. Also, by us following that shot in, gives them even less time and less court to hit to. We're going to try this right now. Here we have the situation where Jason's return forced the opponent to hit up, allowing me to close in and take that high ball and get an offensive position. Wasn't the greatest volley, but in response, his netman had less time. So he had to react to my shot, giving a weak shot in return, allowing me to, again, finish the point off. This is very important to understand how to take time away from your opponent, because a lot of players stay back here. That person runs in, but can just push the ball deep to the back person and get back into the point.